Smile. Here, let me move over for you. There we go. We'll see if anybody's actually able to join us during our live. I know that there was a few people who wanted to. So, we'll see. Anyhow. Are you as nervous this time?
No.
As you were last time? Last time I know you're pretty alert. Pretty nervous. I'm texting our friend down at Enchantments. Because I know that she and the girls have been wanting to catch us. So, forgot to do this before we got started. There we go. Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you, Olivia. Happy Thanksgiving, Christy. And thank you for joining us. So we're going to do something a little bit different, which seems to be the case with my channel these days, as we do a lot of things different. We had somebody who ordered a reading, and she happened to join the channeling live that I did the other day. I think you were at work. And so I have her situation right here, and we're both going to read it. Thank you for joining us, Gina. 2 of my mods are on. Is Ricky going to be able to come on or no? We appreciate you for no matter how long you're able to be here, sis, especially with everything that's going on in your life. Thank you. And you read the situation?
Yep.
Okay. So let's go ahead and shuffle for her. And I am going to reference her by her name that she came through my PayPal on. Would one of my mods please drop the information for how to order a personal reading, please? And thank you. That's okay. She can catch it later, Gina. She needs her sleep. I know she's had a lot going on in her world, too. So, Mindful Mood Box. I'm going to move that there so you can see it. We are going to go ahead and get to your reading now. And then, Gina, you had some stuff that you wanted to kind of bring up and talk to me about during my live. So, after we get done with this, if you're still on, then we'll go ahead and address those things. Okay. So, she had Mindful Mood Box had quite a lot going on in her young life. She's got 1,000 different directions she's trying to move all at once. Hi, Moon Baby. Thank you for joining, sis. I know that there was a couple of people who wanted to really be able to log on, but for whatever reason, they just aren't able to. And we understand it is Thanksgiving, but we did want to give a few of our readers who have expressed to me personally that they were kind of upset they had missed a live with you, for one, but also they had missed the opportunity to go live because I generally do it later on in the evening. And we do have viewers all over the world. So an earlier reading and live gives people the opportunity to join us. Alrighty, Mindful Mood Box. Let's get this going for you. Hi, Royal. How are you? As soon as we are done with this question, then yes, you are welcome to ask a question. We'll do a quick 3-card pull for you. And if you'd like an elaboration, then please use the instructions above in the comments. And we'd be happy to, or I would be happy to do a full personal reading for you. So, Mindful Mood Box, you have a lot going on in your young world. In my channeling live, we did address whether or not you should move to Northern Ireland, and I definitely still feel like you should. That has not changed between then and now. You did order the full personal reading, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do. I will do the reading. Jonathan is going to go ahead and pull some cards, and he will address some of the stuff that you had going on as well. And for those of you who are new to the channel, Jonathan is new to reading, but he is certainly willing to give it a shot. Okay, so Royal, we will see what we can come up with. Let us get through this reading first, okay? So for the reading that was ordered, I am going to do a 10-card layout. You can do whatever you choose. And thank you, Gina. Yeah, we will address that here in a second. So Mindful Mood Box. The card that represents you is the Four of Chalices. Now I will get to this in just a second. The first cards that I lay out, cards 1 through 6, I will tell you the meaning of the position that they lie in as we get to it. And then I will flip cards 7 through 10 when we get there. Remember, I always flip side to side, never end for end. I want to see how the cards lay on the deck. And please remember, and I give this general disclosure to any personal reading that I do, and that is you have the power within yourself to change the course of events through thought, word, and or deed. With all of that, what I read is a situation that is in front of me right now, according to the question that you asked and according to the energies that I am picking up. Okay.
And to answer your question, Leslie, it's only if you don't mind them being live. If you would like them personal, they can be sent that way as well.
Yep. And the instructions are further up in the comments. Liv, do you want to drop it again, please? So the next card, and this is what crosses you, Mindful Mood Box, is the Three of Wands reversed. Given the card crosses you, I always read that card right side up, so I won't do the reverse reading. However, we'll get there when I when I get to that card. The distant past foundation, which is generally about 6 months or more before now, is the Chariot. And this is right side up. Now remember, guys, major arcana cards represent major life changes. They represent the end of a karmic cycle. They represent spiritual help. Okay. Hi, Amy. Your minor arcana, which are your suits, they would be your pentacles, your wands, your swords, and your cups, represent your day-to-day life events. So your near past, which is about 6 weeks ago up to about 3 months ago, and then about 3 months into the future, is a Novice of Wands. This is for Mindful Mood Box. This is a pre-ordered reading. She's given me permission to do it live. We have your near future. This is usually about 3 to 6 months into the future, is the Five of Wands. For those of you who aren't privy to the question that she asked, she is wanting to know whether or not she should move to Ireland and the circumstances surrounding that. Okay, the distant future. This is usually about 3 to 6 months and sometimes a little bit further into the future. And this represents that sharp turn I talked about during the channeling session that I did, is the Sun reversed. Now, cards 7, 8, 9, and 10, I will flip as I get there, and I will explain the meaning of the positions and the cards as we get there. Got to move that. I had some stuff you guys can't see off camera. Inevitably. Okay, so let's address the card that represents you. There is a lot of emotional thought and challenges for you right now as you are making this decision as to whether or not you want to move to Northern Ireland for your schooling. This isn't something that you are taking lightly, although I think a lot of the people around you feel like you are taking this entire situation lightly. There's really a lot of forethought that goes into this for you. There is a lot of planning that is going into it for you, and there is a lot of almost emotional trauma. I feel like you're getting guilted from a lot of different angles and a lot of people that are closer to you. I still feel like that move is a good one to make. I feel like you should probably plan on attending spring semester, if not even summer semester. If you can make that happen, it is definitely a good thing for you. And we covered some of this in the channeling reading. I feel like if you had moved before, it would have been a bad idea. However, things are starting to line up and correlate for you. You have a lot of help from the other side in lining things up. This has been a dream of yours for a hot minute. This isn't something that you have just suddenly decided on a whim you want to do. I feel like you have a couple of people that are really close to you that are really trying. Hi, Darren. Thank you. Who are really trying to get you to change your mind. Keep in mind that that is, as much as they love you, that is their own selfishness coming into play. They want you to stick around for them, and they're afraid that you will move on with your life and you will leave them behind. So to help stave that off, you need to address that with them and address with them the issues that they have, because ultimately you need their support. That sharp turn that you were worried about, and I'm going through this a little bit faster than I typically would because some of these things are things that have already been addressed during the channeling reading. And I feel like you have 1,000 different things going through your head as you address this, that you kind of re-asked a few of the questions. So let's get to that sharp turn. Ultimately, the people who are meant to travel this road with you will continue to travel this road with you. Those ones that are near and dear to you and really mean a lot to you are going to continue to travel this road with you. They are going to stand by your side, and they are going to really be there for you and support you and act as that support system as you need them to. Those that are not meant to travel this road with you are the ones that you will find out rather rapidly, because they will eventually just kind of weed themselves out. You will start hearing from them less and less, and you will find that when you do, they don't really have anything supportive to say for you. And those are the ones that when they start to just kind of drop off, you need to let them. Okay. I believe that sharp turn is twofold, and this is the Sun reversed. This is a major arcana card. This is in the distant future. This is 6 months at least into the future. This is something that is addressing a couple of things. Number one, you have a couple of friends that have health issues. You brought that up. Expect that you will probably have to make a trip back home to either tend to them or to be there for them, because they will need you. It's not to say you shouldn't continue on with your life, but just realize that there's going to be at least one trip home where you will be needed and they will need you to be on point when you come home. The other sharp turn is the realization, I feel, that some of those friendships that you thought were close to you, that you held close to you, are not ones that perhaps it was a mutual thing, and that's okay. It's going to hurt, but you have the opportunity to kind of brace for that, I feel. Do you have anything to add to what I've read so far?
No.
Go figure. You've shuffled, I see, so you can read yours in a minute. So this is a card according to, I'm on card number 7. This is a card that represents you according to the question that you asked, the surrounding cards, and the situation. And this is the 8 of Pentacles, and it is reversed. With this move, you need to plan financially accordingly. When you first get there, money might be a little bit tight, and you need to allow for that. You need to allow for the change in currency. You need to allow for some tight times. Maybe have a little bit of a nest egg or a little bit of a cushion, so to speak, for when you make that move. I definitely feel like you need to move to Northern Ireland for your master's. You have a couple of other options open and available to you, but this is where your heart is guiding you. You know, and you have those instincts. You just need to trust them and follow through with that. The next card is your environments, and this is definitely a representation of where you are at. It's coming through in the notes on my PayPal that you sent when you ordered this reading, and it is definitely showing up in the cards. This is the 9 of Swords, and it is right side up. For you, this is a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of sleepless nights, and really you're letting everybody else make the decision for you, while you need to trust your instincts and trust your gut and trust where you want to go in life. This isn't anybody else's journey but yours. And this is one that nobody else can take for you. You have to make this decision and make this choice and travel this path alone. People can be there to support you, but nobody can do your education and make that kind of a decision for you but you. The next card is your hopes and or fears. And again, I feel like this card is a really good representation of where you are at emotionally, Mindful Mood Box. And this is the 10 of Chalices reversed. You are doing a really good job of making yourself miserable with this decision. I feel like once you make the decision and you stick to it and you start really planning for it, everything else is going to fall into place. But for now, you have a lot of people who are over your shoulder doing a lot of talk and running their gums, and some of those people aren't the most supportive in your life. And I feel like that isn't something that you really want to surround yourself with as you are making what for you is a huge life change. So your fear is that people are going to forget about you and they're going to run away from you and they're going to just drop off. And I feel like for some, you already know who is going to drop off. I feel like you already have a really good feeling as to that. And I think to a certain degree, you're afraid of being proven right. On the other hand, not everybody is meant to travel your entire journey with you. And that's okay. This is the final card. This is a card that represents the final outcome for you according to the situation that you asked about and according to the surrounding cards. And for this, which is kind of a rather intriguing card, for lack of a better term, you have a card that represents the breaking of some ties. And this is, sorry, I'm trying to hold it where there's less of a glare. Can you see that a little better? That is the 10 of Swords right side up. That to me tells me that as much as you want to make this life change, you are afraid of having to let some people go. Inevitably, whether you make this change and move to Northern Ireland, or whether or not you make a different change and go someplace else to complete your master's degree, you are going to end up letting some people go, and you are going to end up figuring out who is going to travel this life path with you and who isn't. So, do you have anything you want to add with your cards? I know you were planning on it. And I'll go ahead and clean this up.
Okay, so now I'm going to touch on a couple of things that she hit on a little bit, but not too much. And I'm just going to pull a quick 3 spread for you. Interesting.
You going to show the cards? It usually helps.
I'm aware.
Not the right cards?
Nope.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, deck's spitting out something funny this morning.
So, you're going to hand me the box lid and I'll show people. Everybody's seen my deck, but not too many people have seen yours. So this is Jonathan's deck. This is the deck that he was drawn to. I'm trying to hold it so you guys can see it without too much of a light. This is his. It sits on his dresser and he reads with it occasionally. And when he asks for my input, I give it to him. But he seems to really like this deck. And this kind of goes into what my mod Gina had brought up. And we'll address that here in a minute. We have a few other things that we need to address as well. That feels better.
More accurate, at least.
So, show cards, please.
I will.
Okay.
So, as to the other part of your question, along where you would like to end up, this card, the 4 of Gabriel.
There's a huge light on that when you show it.
I know. So the 4 of Gabriel. And this is basically saying that with time and work will come your rewards for that work and the time and effort you put into it.
That makes sense.
Yep. As for another portion of your question, we've got the Knight of Raphael. And so this is kind of referring to both your friends and your question on love and what your life will hold there. It is basically saying that you could meet somebody and end up swept off your feet. But then again, as we've always said, things can change and be different depending on the actions and the people involved.
And the choices that you make.
And choices that are made. So really, depending on what you do and how you handle them, in respects to you would like to end up and with your relationships, it all depends on the actions and everything else that goes with it. And also in the how everybody will survive your move, including yourself, we've got the Three of Michael.
Ooh, that's a good card.
Yeah. That card is telling me that you need to not be too worried about moving forward. You need to let the past be where the past is. And that is in the past.
Take the leap and have faith.
Yep. And if people have their feelings hurt, remember one thing. Time heals all wounds.
Not only that, but they don't have to live with the consequences of her choices. She does.
Right. But even then, time heals all.
That's valid.
So, and that's what I have for you. Let's see if I can't find another one that might need to be pulled for you. Go ahead and pick one. And again,
Three of Raphael.
the Three of Raphael. This is a celebratory card, meaning you have reason to celebrate with your acceptance to the program, your move, and any and all choices that you are making. To the positive, at least. So don't be afraid. Take that leap of faith. Even with time, don't be afraid of hurt feelings.
Good job. So, Royal, you had a question. I'll do a quick 3-card pull for you. And I was shuffling and listening to Jonathan and focusing on the question that you asked. So the first card is the Two of Chalices. Right side up. And your question is, you want to know if your bosses are annoyed at you or by you. You started a new job and you're battling with mental illness and you feel embarrassed and guilty. And you threw a small celery at your boss. I'm kind of recapping for people who have just joined, didn't want to maybe go through the past comments. And one of my mods informed me that not all of the comments that come up during the reading are showing on the replay. I'm going to work to fix that, but this way, if somebody catches a replay, they know what we're answering. Your next question is the Elemental of Pentacles, and that card is reversed. And your next question is the Six of Chalices, reversed. Are you going to pull for Royal as well, or no?
If she would like me to, I can.
So, let's go ahead and address some of the bigger questions, which is your boss annoyed by you? Minorly, but I feel like when you first started the job, you disclosed that there was some mental illness going on with you. And so they were kind of prepared for that. However, that is only going to fly with them for so long. So maybe don't feel guilty. You don't need to feel embarrassed. They're aware of it. but also don't use that as a crutch, because that would get old with your boss real quick. You're better than you think you are. You have a lot going for you and a lot to offer the company, or they never would have hired you. So focus on that. Focus on how you can become a better you. And that also includes for you how you can become a better employee, because as you focus on how you can be a better you and how you can be a better employee and communicate with your boss, that's a really important factor. Thanks, Ricky. And Royal said they wanted to hear from you as well.
I saw.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second there, Royal. The more you communicate with your boss on how you can do better and how you can really be an attribute to the company and what you need to focus on, the better you will be. Okay. Also, I feel like in this particular situation, you are your own worst enemy. So try not to let your anxiety get the better of you, and you'll be just fine. If you have to take a minute to breathe, take a minute to breathe. Maybe ask your boss, hey, I need a quick 5 minutes. I just need to regroup. And chances are they're willing to accommodate that, because they would rather you stay for your entire shift than for you to leave early because you are now having a complete panic attack. So I hope that makes sense for you as far as a quick 3-card pull goes. If you would like me to elaborate a little bit more, you are more than welcome to order a full reading. One of my mods, Liv, has dropped it in the comments. I'm sure she would be willing to repost that information again, and I'd be happy to expand on that. And it looks like Jonathan is getting ready to answer for you as well.
Basically, what I'm doing is just a different way of the way these cards like to be used. And I just spread them out and I look at them until I find a card that works.
That way people can see what you're doing.
Yeah, well, balancing them all and not having to play however many cards this is, pick up.
I get it. No, I understand. At some point, we should probably grab like a tripod that allows people to see what we're looking at as we see it, instead of just using a laptop. But do what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah. So.
Go ahead and choose your cards.
Oh, that's.
I'm helping.
Right. That's the 3 of Ariel. And that card is basically saying, don't let your mental illness hold you back. Do what you love, and you will find great personal growth. Meaning, you will, once you've learned how to work with everybody you work with, you will end up being able to be a little more cooperative, and you won't have these episodes of throwing stuff at your bosses, because really,
not every boss would be as accepting and understanding.
Right.
There is that.
So there again. Oh, no. Hold on.
It's this one.
Think so?
That one. It's a card I feel.
All right. We've got the 7 of Raphael. This is a card that describes and blatantly screams, you need to make a decision as to whether or not you want to let your mental illness control your life. You can either let it run you and end up battling your episodes and eventually a boss that probably won't take it for long.
Letting those monsters drive the bus. Is that what you're saying?
Basically. So you need to take control, make a decision, and maybe detoxify some of those monsters that from trying to drive the bus. Sorry, it's a reference to my own mental illnesses that I've been dealing with, and something that my counselor actually helped me to recognize.
Is when those monsters take control.
Yep.
And how to be the one that's in control and realize when that's happening.
Yep.
So, good. Go back up. There's a couple of things that we need to address. I know that there are some comments that have come through. So, let's see. Leslie. No, I do not do all of my requested and purchased readings live. I happen to get permission from this individual for me to do hers live and whatnot. She is somebody who is relatively new to my channel, like apparently you are, and she was comfortable with it. So we went ahead and did it live. She was able to get both my reading, but also that of Jonathan, who is new. So that was something that I had inquired of first if she wanted me to do it live, so that way she didn't have to wait. Okay, because otherwise when I'm not live, then I schedule those personal readings at different points throughout my day or on a weekend or whatever, so that way I can shoot them and either send an unlisted link or I can post them publicly, whichever the person who purchased the reading wanted. And thank you for your support, Christy. I appreciate it. Hi, Elaine C. And happy Turkey Day to you as well, from us to you. Let's see. Quirky Giraffe. Okay, this is just going to be a quick tap and ask. Do we think that your package will be delivered on Saturday? It's kind of an odd request for a quick reading, but certainly happy to address it. And thank you, Olivia, for addressing that question. Gina, I will get to yours here in just a moment. Thank you, Ricky, for coming on. Hi, Leanne. How are you? Yes, we can put the complete PayPal link in the chat. I can't pull it right this second as we are live, but yes, I will go back and I will add it probably in the description. I'll put it up on the comments tab on my YouTube, and I'll make sure that it gets pinned underneath this for you, okay? So, do we think their package is going to be delivered on Saturday? And this is Quirky Giraffe. Quick tap and ask. Okay, I'll tap. You tell me whether or not I am reading the bottom card here or the top card. So let me shuffle once more. Okay, which one am I reading? Bottom or top?
Bottom.
This one?
Yeah.
No, I do not think that your package is going to be delivered on Saturday. Even if that's whatever the tracking says, I feel like it will be either later Friday or early. I don't feel like it's going to be on Saturday.
But then again, tarot is also subjective to outside influences. And especially something like that, the best we can do is a guesstimate as to what the universe is saying right now. Things can always change due to thought, action, or deed by you or somebody indirect that has contact with your package.
Sorry, I was reading the comments, and yes, I agree. That is entirely subjective to a whole lot of outside influences. But according to what I am picking up right this second, no, I don't feel like it'll be delivered on Saturday. And thank you, Gina, for answering that question. Can you put it in the comments, please? If somebody hasn't already, I think we have addressed everybody else above. Let's go ahead and look. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Rudy. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, Ricky, they've kind of, the store I found them at, we had spent several hours in that store and they just would not let me leave the store the second time with no sight in return.
I think it was like the third time. So this was the store we were in Salt Lake City, Utah, when we were picking up Olivia from the airport.
I saw them the first time and I just kind of let it go. And when we went back to get her from the airport, we went there again and they just would not let me leave that time without actually buying them. So yeah, just kind of what I ended up with.
So let's get to a question that I've been asked by one of my bosses. I get asked this actually frequently, is where can you find tarot cards? Well, to answer in short, yeah, Rusty actually asked me that not too long ago. It was like earlier this last week.
Okay.
So, well, not everybody knows. So you can find tarot cards in a lot of bookstores. I know Barnes and Noble carries them. Hastings used to carry them when Hastings was still a thing, which
Barnes and Noble has them?
Yes, they do.
Interesting.
So a lot of bookstores carry them. You can find them on Amazon. In fact, I found a couple of decks that I have decided I now need, which is the Nightmare Before Tarot or Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot and the Labyrinth Tarot. Yes, I found a Labyrinth Tarot deck. You should not be surprised. And you can also find them in a lot of different types of metaphysical stores. I actually happen to be friends with a owner of a metaphysical shop here in Pocatello, Enchantments. Crystal is amazing. So there's your shout out, Crystal. Hi, lady. And hello to you and your girls as well. But they carry them, and a lot of places will order them for you if you have a specific deck in mind. As a general rule, I recommend finding something that calls to you. So that would be the easiest way to do it. And hello, Paige. Thank you for hopping on and saying hello. Happy Thanksgiving. Paige is somebody who has been on a lot of my lives.
Yes, Amy, they can work. The biggest thing is you've got to learn how to use them, which they will tell you how they want to be used more often than not. Mine do.
You got to listen and just follow your instincts on that one.
Yeah, but they'll still tell you.
Yeah, they will.
So it doesn't really matter where you get them. You've just got to find.
Absolutely, Paige.
Yep, you've got to find a deck that just, no matter what you do, you can't get it off your mind, which is what happened to me with these.
So a lot of cards come in a nifty little box like this, or like the one that Jonathan's using, or I've got half a dozen different decks, as does my daughter, because, well, I got her into it too. But a lot of them will come with a nifty little insert book. I basically, for myself, because I have a lot of experience with tarot, I don't even use these. As you can see, I never pick up the book to read the meanings, but that's me. When you're new to the cards, really kind of paging through that book and familiarizing, I cannot talk today, is a good way to get used to your cards and get used to the meanings of your cards, and then start going through and figuring out what you feel when you are doing the cards. Channeling cards is a little bit more difficult, as you saw. For those of you who were on during my channeling live, it tends to be a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but it is something that can be done. You just have to really tune in to that part. And yes, Paige, we're buddies from a distance now. I have a few people who have been with me and who like to hop on and say hello, who I've become friends with. It's been quite the blessing. Gina, you brought up something earlier. And for those of you who are new and are not familiar, Gina, Ricky, and Liv are three of my page mods. Where did I see it? I know you didn't want to get lost in the shuffle, so I'm going back because I also know you're popping in and out as you can. So Gina brought up the fact, and this is something she and I have talked about before, but it's good to bring up during a live, There is a general misunderstanding about tarot having an attachment to evil and or the devil, depending on your religious persuasion and how you believe. And she says that she disagrees, but she feels that it's worth talking about. And I also agree with that. In fact, I've had a conversation with a few people about that. For me, and this is my perspective, a lot of people tend to think something is evil or bad if they have a lack of understanding of it, or they have a lack of knowledge about it, or they just simply are, I guess, predisposed to that. A lot of people don't tend to really want to put in the time and effort to actually get to know more about something. And I believe it is associated with this account. So thank you, Gina. And Leanne, I just answered your question. I believe it's associated with that account. However, guys, if you want to order a reading or you want elaboration on something that I have said either during a live or during a reading that I've done for you, then the email that you need to be using is already posted in, but I will post it here, which is this. So if you are in a position where you would like to know a little bit more about tarot and whatnot, and would like me to walk you through the basics, that is something that I am willing to do. Go ahead and order it. And I would be happy to schedule like either a reading where I sit down and I video and I walk you through the basics. I've kind of covered this on lives before, but I would also be willing to schedule an interactive reading with you. Those are the same price, $25. I am working out the kinks on that. I have 2 people that I have actually gotten to agree to be a guinea pig for me on that. So we're going to work through that here sometime in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll really start focusing on scheduling those. So what are your thoughts on tarot? Because when you and I very first met, this was something that you had never really ever experienced or even really seen. Me too, Ricky. And I'll cover that here in just a second. But will you answer my question, please?
Yeah. Yeah, when we first got together, I didn't know anything about tarot cards, tarot itself. I lived underneath a very big and very
giant,
shielded and guarded boulder.
That's true. You did.
So I was not open to it, and I thought it was kind of a weird thing to be doing and talking about and whatnot. And I was just not open. But honestly, they've helped me make a few decisions too.
Yeah. Sorry, we're stopping to read Paige's comment, and until I get the comments appearing or not appearing on the playback fixed, I'll go ahead and read this. Paige, you're asking, are there any cards you don't read traditionally? I have a deck where I read the wands as earth signs and swords as fire signs, and that's just how I felt them. Have I ever done that? So yes, to be totally honest with you, yes. Traditionally, pentacles equal earth signs, or your cups equal water signs, and your wands equal fire signs, and your swords equal air signs. However, I do not always read that way. I read everything by intuition. And so for me, I've been known to flip-flop my wands and my swords, or my cups and my pentacles, for an example, and to answer your question. I have a Gypsy Tarot, which is a really fun deck to read. And it is not read traditionally. It's one where I would go towards the book and then I would apply my intuition to what the book is saying. But the cards are not, they're actually more shaped like these ones are than like the deck that you guys usually see me reading. They are a square, and you don't just pull cards, you lay the entire spread out and then you turn them in their set out position to make pictures, and it's kind of like an X, and there is a half a picture in each little section. So that is one that I wouldn't read traditionally. There are several that we've come across where I either just lay them out differently because that's what speaks to me. A question that I have been asked a lot also is, and this is something that Ricky just brought up, is what is my belief system? Do I believe in a deity? Do I believe in a higher power? And okay, I'll look for it in just a second, Leanne. Did you want me to do it live, or do you want me to shoot it personally? Did you indicate that in your PayPal? Will you look at that, please? So I can finish addressing what Ricky brought up. I tend to be very eclectic in my belief system. I was raised to to explore different avenues and to take what felt right and what felt right in my soul and to apply it. Anything that didn't feel right, that I didn't feel right in my soul with, I disregard it. And so, do I believe in a higher power? Yes. Do I believe in a deity? Yes. But it isn't singular. I believe in multiple deities. A question I get asked a lot, and I'll address that in a second, is do I believe in God? Yes. However, I also believe that God is the only deity out there that chose to be called God. This tends to be rather, thank you, Leanne, and thank you, Rudy, for answering that question. It tends to be something that a lot of people find almost appalling. However, it works for me. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. And I'm okay with that because we can all exist in a world where we all have different beliefs. You have a couple of people. So, Leanne, you would like to know if you will be moving to Florida. And thank you for addressing the fact that I can do it live and whatnot. I should have the link in on my clipboard. So let's go ahead and address yours, since yours is the first one that came through. Do you want me to send that and you can start shuffling for her first? Leanne, did you want Jonathan and I both to read or just me?
Or just me, either way.
Yep, because it wasn't specific. Okay, so you're all right with both of us reading? Thank you. Rudy, we'll get to you in just a second, bud. That's awesome, Jason. So are you connecting with me and Jonathan both, or just me? So Jason is somebody who I've known for probably at least 20 years. And he's a very, very close friend to myself and Jonathan. And occasionally he connects and is able to start saying stuff at the same time I start saying it, which is kind of entertaining, I find. But not uncommon. I've had other people tell me the same thing, that they connect with me and end up knowing things as I know them.
Yeah.
The commonality is beautiful, I find. Give me just a second. I have somebody who is asking me for a direct link. They would like to join in. So I'd like to be able to send that to them so they can come join us. Alrighty. So Leanne, I am going to finish shuffling for you. I figured you were female. It was my husband who assumed that you were male.
I did not.
You referenced Rudy as a he.
I did.
Yes.
I'm sorry. My bad.
It's okay.
Didn't realize it. I work in a male-dominated trade, so
yeah, being a truck driver, you would.
Bud is just kind of a generalized.
Well, I reference everybody as Bud, so if that offended you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
But you tend to refer to even our cats as males, and both of our cats are female. You guys have seen the cats, those of you who have been on before. You're getting laughed at. That's okay.
I see that.
At least she's not offended. Okay. So, Leslie, I'm about done shuffling for you. I'm going to go ahead and cut the cards. Leanne, sorry. It's, you know what? I've been up for quite a while. And I'm not nearly caffeinated enough. Alrighty, my dear. Simple answer, and I will do a full spread for you, Leanne. Thank you, Paige. I appreciate you. And yes, guys, if you're watching and you haven't already, please also subscribe. It helps us. Hey, Jay. So the card for you, Leanne, that is representing you is the Two of Wands right side up. And I'll get to what it is for everybody here in just a second. The card that crosses you that I always read right side up because it is crossing you is the Eight of Chalices. Distant past foundation. Remember, distant past is usually about 3 to 6 months ago, is the moon, and it is reversed. Next up, we have, and this is your more current events. This is usually about 3 months past to about 3 months into the future, is your Elder of Pentacles reversed. Next up, we have your near future, which is usually 3 to 6 months in the future, which is the Elemental of Wands. Distant future, which is usually about 6 months or more into the future. And that is the Three of Wands right side up. Whether or not you choose to ask, Darren, is up to you. You're certainly welcome to send me that question personally, and I can read for you. So cards 7 through 10, I will flip and read as we get to them. And again, this is for Leanne, who wants to know whether or not she should move to Florida. If you want to man that for me for a second and kind of keep track. I definitely see you moving. And I feel like this is something that has been calling to you for a while to do. This isn't just something that you suddenly decided on a whim, oh, hey, I should move to Florida next week. This is something that you have kind of really been pondering for quite a while, and you really want to go, but you have some hesitancies, hence the question that you asked, but it's also showing up in the reading. And a big part of those hesitancies, and this is what crosses you, is the emotional aspect of the move. And by the emotional aspect, I mean not just you, but you're concerned about the emotions of others. And that is one of the things that is stopping you from wanting to move. However, I don't see that stopping you. I feel like you will decide that the move is actually in your best interests. There are a lot more positives for you in the move than there are for you actually staying where you're at. Your distant past foundation, though, is a major arcana card, and that is the moon reversed. Now, for those who have just joined or who are new to the channel, as a general rule, major arcana is read as spiritual help. It is read as the end of a life event or the beginning of a life event, as the case may be. It is also read as, sorry, I have notes here so I can read it on the spot. They're important life events, and they are major milestones. Your minor arcana, which are your suits, your swords, cups, pentacles, and wands, are read as your day-to-day life events. So with all of that, let's jump back to it. The moon reversed says that there was a particular situation in your past where you really feel like that was what the catalyst was for you to actually want to move. That was something that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for you. You also have a lot of spiritual help with that push. There is someone who passed who is an older female. She might be like an aunt or a grandmother. She feels more like a grandmother that is really kind of helping to push you in that general direction for you to want to move. And she really is helping to guide you in that situation. I do feel like moving right this second isn't a good idea for you. Do put the forethought, the planning into it. I feel like that move is coming. It's going to happen probably late spring, early summer would be the best for you. I feel like financially, that is where your leaping point is going to be. Start researching jobs in that area because you're going to start getting a lot of bites. And when you find the right one, you will know it. And that is when you will start seeing things dropping into place for the move to happen. And that actually brings you to the distant future, which is the Three of Wands right side up. And I do see you looking into a new position, and I don't see you transferring with the job that you currently have. I feel like you are going to move with a new job, and that will be the catalyst that actually ends up getting you to move. So let's move on to cards 7 through 10. This is a card that represents you according to the question that you asked, the surrounding cards, and the situation. And this is the 8 of Pentacles right now. So yeah, you do have a few things that you need to line up and get into more of a synchronicity in order for you to move. Okay. Yeah, the working from home thing is good, but I don't feel like that is what you're going to end up doing. I feel like you are going to end up moving into something where you have a little bit more interaction with people. And you may continue to work at home, but I feel like there may be a side gig that you end up doing where you're going to have a little bit more interaction with people. Your environments, and this is the 7 of Chalices right side up. I feel like you are coming to peace with the decision, and that the people that you are most worried about support your choices. Okay, so you're in a good place to make that kind of a decision. Your hopes or fears, which is an Initiate of Chalices. This is kind of a double-edged sword for you because your hopes are really actually also your fears, which almost never happens, I feel. And you really, yes, the biggest question is, are you going to be happy in the move? Which you didn't ask, but yes, you will be happy with the move. And the final outcome, according to the question that you asked and the surrounding energies, which is Death reversed. Now, most people look at the Death card and they think, oh my God, I'm going to die, or somebody close to me is going to die, or whatever. No. What the Death card says is take pause. Yeah, that's a general reaction. Take a pause and don't just make that leap next week. You need to take that step back, and you need to really put a lot of planning into this move, which is something that I end up saying a lot, to be honest with you. If you plan on making a really big move and it's more than just another town, and you plan on moving to another state or to another country, you really need to take the time to lay that foundation so that way the move is a smooth one. You can't foresee every little thing that's going to happen, but you can definitely see some stuff and plan accordingly, like making sure you have a little bit of extra money to move with because you might have a tire that blows on you as you're moving, or the cost of gas might be a little bit higher along the route and you didn't plan for it. But those are things that you can kind of use a little bit of intuitive foresight and plan for. And I feel like that's definitely what you need to do, especially in that move to Florida. And the other thing that is coming through is that you need to research the change in laws. So I'm not sure how that applies to you and your move, but it'll mean something more to you than it does to me. So yeah, I believe that it had cost at least $3,000 just for movers. But I feel like you're going to want to plan outside of that. Okay. And yeah, I really feel that's something that is coming through very repetitively is you need to research the change in laws from where you're currently at to where you are moving to in Florida. So hopefully that'll mean more to you than it does to me in the saying of it, but looks like Jonathan is ready. Can I have my phone so I can read up on Rudy, please?
Okay, so for starters, we've got the Nine of Michael. This card is saying that you need to not worry about whatever it is that you're worrying about. And you need to focus on the outcome and the results that you want, whether it be the results of a desire for something or whatever else you may be worrying about, and to release all negative thoughts about it to the universe. Next card that came up is the Five of Michael. And it's there again saying that you need to release your attachment to what the outcome is going to be in Florida, or the outcome of whatever situation it is that you are in right at this point in time, because actually it doesn't feel like it's even talking about Florida. It's like it's saying that you're worried about somebody that you may be leaving behind. And so I'm not exactly sure what it is that you may be worried about or be having doubtful thoughts over. But there definitely is something there that you need to just release and not be too worried about. And then the last card that came up is a major arcana, the Star. And
That's a good card.
Basically, it's what everybody hopes for, a dream come true. And you need to believe in yourself to get to the end of the difficult situation of moving and getting through all these prior two cards situations. So there's that. Got another one for you too, apparently.
So to answer your question about what laws, to elaborate a little bit on that, the laws tend to vary state by state. And so wherever you are now to wherever you are moving, there's apparently enough of a variance between on certain things. Maybe it's like registering your car and when you first get there, that you need to be aware of. What's currently where you're at may be different where you're going. And I really feel like that's something that you need to pay attention to. It's something that I am hearing on repetitive, is that there are certain things that you just need to be aware of and maybe look into before you actually move.
Okay. And so the last card that decided it needed to come out for you is King of Michael. Basically, you need to be objective with your situation, and you need to use all the wisdom that you do have for your important for important decisions that need to be made now or in the near future.
I'm just listening because I can tell your mind is working faster than what's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm used to you. So maybe take a deep breath and regroup and then try and say what you're trying to say.
Well, it's kind of hard because this card it's screaming at me, basically.
Okay, so what are you hearing the loudest?
There is somebody that you need to be open and honest with in your communication of you wanting to move.
You feel like maybe there's a little bit of a communication breakdown?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. On her end or on theirs?
Combination.
Okay.
Somebody's not understanding why she's making this decision to move and doesn't like it, which would be where we come back to the first card, which was your Nine of Michael, with the worry and the regret and everything else there.
Okay, so almost like a situation of what was said versus what was perceived as being said?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. And that makes sense.
So.
Thank you, Ricky. And he saw what you said. So, Leanne, yeah, it could be something as simple as no state tax in Florida, in which case then that would affect you come tax time. Like I said, it could be something as simple as when you need to register your car, how long you need to be there before you can, or like some places want you to register within 30 days, sometimes within 3. So stuff like that are smaller things that could really have an effect on you, are things that you need to be prepared for. And that's something that's really coming through strongly for me while he's picking up on other things. So Rudy, to address you and your question, you want what?
Leanne, did you get some things cleared up that you felt you needed cleared up for when you purchased the reading?
That's actually a really good question to ask. So thank you. Thank you for the repause and make sure that she got what she needed before we move on. Thank you.
Because the last thing I want is for somebody to feel like we didn't answer what they
asked.
Yes.
Okay, good. So as long as you feel like it helped and like your question was asked that or answered, then we're good. What, Martin? All I see is thick. THIK. Oh, thank you, Rudy. She says we're beautiful.
I see that.
That's sweet. I think what she means is she likes our energy together and how we work in tandem. I'm hoping that that's what you were saying, Rudy.
Yes, and same to you, Leanne.
Same to you, Leanne. Have a happy and safe holiday. Although we do understand that not all of our watchers celebrate Thanksgiving. Some people are in a different section of the world. So that's also, a different factor. As for a lot of our watchers, it's just another day. Okay, so I was right about what she was saying. Alrighty, my dear. So you want to know, and this is for you, Rudy, what you can do to help yourself move past these negative energy thoughts. Okay, so for you, we're going to do a little bit different of a spread, which is not the typical 10-card layout that I would do.
And Rudy, you did say it was okay for us to do this live, right? Because I totally forgot by now.
Yeah, she did earlier in the comments.
Okay.
So This isn't something that I've ever actually seen in a book, but how we're going to lay it out is in a pyramid style, which is what I feel is best for you. That we will have the first card that represents you, and then we will lay out and see how it goes accordingly. So Alrighty, my dear. You are really not in a great headspace, are you? You are really just kind of caught in a spiral, which thank you for reaching out and looking for some guidance on that situation. I would much rather you reach out to me than to do something drastic. So we'll get here. Like I said, I'm doing something different, but this is what I'm being drawn to do. And I'm just going to kind of lay it out in a little bit of a pyramid and we'll see what happens. So the next card is the Nine of Wands, and this is reversed. Then we have the Elemental of Pentacles reversed. Next card is the Lovers reversed. You've really been through a lot of traumatic times. We have the Hierophant. Let me hold that a little bit closer for you. We have Chalices. And that was the Two of Chalices, right side up. We have the Four of Wands reversed. Remember, not all reversal cards are a bad thing. Okay, a lot of people tend to review something as being negative as being, or excuse me, something as being reversed as being negative, and that's just simply not the case. Okay, we have the Initiate of Chalices right side up. So I feel like you have had a lot of trauma in your, not just your past, but also your more recent past. And what trauma means to you is really what I'm focused on, because what would be traumatic for you wouldn't necessarily be traumatic for me. So really that word and the definition of it is relative, because what I'm focusing on is you. And there are certain situations that have happened with you in your life where it really affected you and shook you down to your core. And while, yeah, there are certain things like the death of a loved one or whatever, which everybody would consider traumatic, you tend to internalize things that maybe somebody else wouldn't internalize. And while that is certainly okay, and it certainly makes you your wonderfully imperfect you, it also makes things a little bit more challenging for you. So to answer your question, we need to find you ways to focus on things that are not so triggering for you. You have a few key situations where there was such a traumatic feeling to it, for lack of a better term, that it seems like almost everything is setting you off. So we need to find ways to be gentle to you. And really, instead of focusing on a relationship or focusing on anything else, this is a time where you need to kind of withdraw a little bit and focus on what you need, what you want, and what will help you get better, which is what you're doing by this reading. You have so many wonderful qualities to you and so many wonderful attributes about you. You just can't see it right now. You are in a position where you are kind of focused on so much that you can't see the forest for the trees. You are in a position where really, let's work on the healing. To do that, you need to focus on making you the healthiest version of you that you can, whether that means getting the health checkups that you need to get, or seeing a counselor, or talking to a close friend and taking them out to coffee, or reading a good book, or sitting down and watching chick flicks all night long because that is what your forte is. Those are the types of things that you need to focus on. If you have the ability to go and maybe take a night class and it's something that you're interested in, maybe photography, or when maybe there's like a spinning class or a horseback riding or something that you are able to do to put your focus elsewhere for a while, that's exactly what you need to do. Something that will draw your attention away from what you're focusing on, because where you're at right now, you're in a position where you're able to dwell, and dwelling isn't helping you, because to take a page out of your book, it's allowing those monsters to drive the bus. So we have to figure out a way for you to take that power back and not allow those monsters to drive the bus. What does that mean for you? Are you a person where you regroup by going into nature? Okay, well, if you can't get to the nearest forest, you can always go to a park and just sit there, maybe throw on a jacket or whatever, or even just sit there with a blanket and just kind of focus on what's around you. Try and tune out all of the city noises and really focus on the feeling of the crispness of the air and feeling of being in nature, even if it is sitting in a park in the middle of a city. That's okay, because you're still grounding you. And if you're able to go for a drive in the country, do something like that. Really try and pay attention to your senses. Pay attention to the sights, pay attention to your smells, pay attention to the different feelings that you have, whether it be textures of different things, or it is just the feeling of the crisp air, or the feeling that you have emotionally. Those are things that you need to focus on to help get you through where you're at mentally. Okay. And I hope that is all making sense for you. But you are really in a position where, in order to work through the stuff that's bothering you, you have to allow yourself to feel those emotions. Know that whatever you are feeling is okay for you to feel, and that eventually those won't feel so overwhelming. You won't feel so powerless. And if you get to a position where you are feeling like you might self-harm or hurt yourself, know yourself and try and be self-aware enough to reach out to somebody and ask for help, whether that be a family member, a close friend, or even a counselor. Try and be self-aware enough to realize that you aren't okay and to reach out. Okay, this isn't an easy time of year for anybody, especially somebody who is trying to work through traumas. I'm guessing that you were shuffling for Rudy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just waiting though.
Okay. So I feel like I've kind of gotten across the message that I need to get across for you. So go ahead and take over and I'll clean these up.
Alrighty.
Okay, Ricky, thank you for letting me know. Hi, Aries. Happy Thanksgiving.
Alrighty.
You're welcome, sis. So if you are just tuning in, this is Jonathan, and he is doing his portion of Rudy's reading. Excuse me. And love you too, Ricky. Have a happy and safe holiday, sis.
Okay. Rudy, so first card we've got is Major Arcana, the Decision card. Basically, it is saying that you need to release yourself from that which holds you back. You know, like she had just touched on. Don't let those monsters driving.
Thank you,
Don't
Olivia.
let those monsters drive the bus. Detox yourself from that which is negative.
From the toxicity that surrounds her?
Yeah. And that which is incessantly negative. Don't let the negativity wreck your self-confidence.
Ooh, good advice.
The biggest thing is the negativity is causing you unnecessary worry, which stems from the lack of self-confidence due to the toxicity. if that's making any sense. And then, hold on.
Feel like there's a card missing, do you?
Yep, a little bit. Sorry, Rudy. I pulled 3 cards and we're missing a card somewhere. So now I've got to go back through and find.
It's on this end.
So I do it all upside down. Yeah, it's got to be down here somewhere.
Yep, that one.
Oh, not playing 78 card pickup. Thank you very much.
For the cards, I think you need to.
Right.
And Rudy says it does make sense. So keep tracking.
And then, so the card that we've got before we get to these other 2 that I pulled is the Page of Raphael. Basically, you need to allow time for once you've built your self-confidence back
And gotten yourself back.
Yep, and gotten yourself back, you need to allow for a new emotional situation. And you need to allow for the outside help from close friends and those that you choose from what she had said to help you through your social interactions and your message and the relationships. So don't forget to rebuild before you just jump back in, because then it'll be a repetitive cycle and you'll just end up right back where you're at now.
Okay, that makes sense. At least to me.
Yeah. The next card we've got is the Queen of Gabriel. And you can do anything that you want. So don't be afraid to go after weeding out those that are negative and those which you find are not helpful in what you would like to accomplish in any matter of whether it be relationships or business or whatever your focus is.
I feel like there's something that needs to be added with that, and that is that it's never too late to reclaim your own power.
Never too late for that. And then our last card is the Four of Gabriel. Basically, it is release yourself from that negativity, which is burdening you down and making it hard for you to find a time of celebration in finding yourself again. So I hope that has answered and helped you to determine what you feel is necessary to do. And that is all that the cards have for you at the moment, at least from me.
Does that answer your question, Rudy? Or do you need further elaboration? I think that's what you're trying to ask.
Yeah.
You're welcome, sis. You're very, very welcome. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to go ahead and close for now. We got to get ready for the dinner that we're supposed to be doing with my dad. So thank you for those of you who have hopped on to join us. We wish you all a very happy and safe holiday, and we will catch you on the flip side. Love and light to you all.